All right, here we are. Good morning on a Sunday. A Sunday in the rain, as you can see. I'd made up my mind to come down here last week to capture some of the beautiful colors that are around me right now. Got up very, very early this morning to walk down here with the camera, and lo and behold, it's raining because, of course, it's autumn, and you know all these beautiful colors are going to go away because that's what they do. Anyway, that's all right. We're going to film in the rain because I think this is an appropriate setting for what we're doing, what we're talking about today. And I'm experimenting with this essay blog, as you know, in different ways of bringing material, as my husband says, so appropriately and so beautifully, even the eyes must feast. And I believe that to be true. So let's walk down here and see if we can find a place to sit down that's out of the rain and give this a shot. Oh, that's nice in here. Oh, might be too dark though. Really. This might be a bit too dark, but at least I can count on not being rained on too badly. Yeah, okay. All right. Great. People. What was that? Is that a dog? Oh. No. Listen. Look at this, huh? Look at this. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about right now. Perfect place to talk about the Fae. But I've got to find a more secluded spot because people are just, you know, it's 7 o'clock on a Sunday morning, but people are here already. And I don't want it. I don't want to be, I don't want to be sort of distracted and all of that. So, beautiful, isn't it? Yep, here we are. All right, well, no place to sit down though. Right, okay. Well, let's talk. Let's talk, gang. Shall we? Here we go. Right in the wet grass. And there goes my notebook into the lake, the pond, whatever. Right. So it goes. So let's do this. Let's do this. Hi. Okay, that's a wacky background, isn't it? Oh well. Listen. Yeah, this is better. This is 13. This is 13 part 3.1, I hope. It may end up being 2 halves. I'm not really sure. It depends on what's possible today. The reason I'm bringing this particular subject to 13 now, even though we were really sort of in this opening up of the false history discussion, is because it came to my attention in the last couple of days that listen, you know, when we're talking about the Fae, and we must talk about the Fae, we must separate the Fae out from all of the mythology, all of the other beings on this planet that do exist outside the visual spectrum, for good, for ill, for amoral purposes, as the elementals exist. It's really, really important not to lump them in with Tinkerbell and the little people and all of that, on the one hand, which minimalizes them and relegates them to ineffectual fairydom, basically. it's also just as important not to lump them in with things like archons and demons as sort of various terms for the same sort of evil in the world. I really take exception to that kind of thinking as well. And I've checked with the people that I know who have done lots and lots of research in this area. Some of them are Irish, some of them are not. They're Celtic, but they disagree with that characterization as well. And so because that's the case, I want to talk about that a little bit in 13. My postulate, my premise, my entire premise for all of my work is that there is a parasite, in fact, or a collective entities that act as a parasite on this planet, who think in terms of eons, and also think in terms of, well, they think in terms of eons, and they've ramped things up significantly over the last couple of centuries. And the point is to harness us human beings, and to make us forget how powerful we are, how magical we are. We cannot be harnessed. We cannot be harnessed, but we certainly cannot be harnessed as long as we have a memory of who we actually are. So there's a lot of conversation right now about exactly what the Fae are. And I don't know if maybe people have been talking about the Fae for a very long time. A lot of people, and I just haven't been paying attention because it had not been brought to my table. Or maybe they're talking about the Fae right now because some of us are talking about the Fae rather importantly, rather pointedly, rather openly. It's okay. Either way, it's fine. It's just that they tend to get grouped into, as I said, this sort of, for the first time I've heard them grouped into this sort of huge negative pot, archons, demons, fairies. It's all, different names for the same negative force in the world, which I cannot let lie there. We know that they've been grouped in with, they've been presented to us as Tinkerbell and the little people. They have nothing to do with the little people. We need to sort that out. We need to absolutely sort that out. In addition to all of that, there is an effort right now to bring them, or to bring out as an entity, and probably as part of a savior programming, this idea of hybrids, alien and human hybrids. I honestly have not done any research into that. For me, that's beside the point. For me, that's irrelevant. Absolutely irrelevant. First of all, we are our own, individually, we are our own savior. End of story, okay? I don't believe anyone's going to swoop down on us from on high and rescue us, okay? I think that each of us individually has everything we need to put an end to all of this anytime we want to, okay? And in terms of hybridization, alien or not, we can go back to this idea that I believe that my research is leading me into the area that the Fae are a seed race. I don't know why it's less possible to believe that there may be a seed race from another planet than it is that we developed from single-celled organisms over eons, or that we landed here as the first human, poof, God put a human being on the planet, or that we evolved from apes. Those are, if you think about those are ludicrous ideas. All three of them are in their own way. All three of those are ludicrous ideas, okay? So let's just throw in this idea that there might be a seed race as well. Now, if that's the case, and I think it is, and it's the Fae, the entity that we will suss out as the Fae, then we're all hybrids, folks, are we not? In some way, okay, I guess it just depends on whether or not you think that there was an entity here waiting, and the Fae landed, and there was there was mating and intermingling of genetics and all of that. In my mind, this is a huge distraction. It just doesn't matter. And I have been told, or I've heard peripherally, I suppose, that this hybrid conversation originates from the CIA, and it's so on and so forth, and that if you talk about the Fae, if you talk about a seed race from another planet, because it's happening at the same time that that some people are talking about hybrids, then the Fae must be ipso facto a CIA operation as well. Listen, I just don't have time for any of this stuff. I just don't. We need to concentrate on breaking parts off from the entire illusion, the trance that we're in. Okay, break off a part at a time, despite the fact that they all go together and they knit together. And when they're knit together, this is the trance that we're accustomed to seeing, or to living in, sorry. So breaking each part away and examining each part of it is what's really going to shake us up. It's really going to shake us up and bring us back to an understanding of just what's going on and what's happening to us. And hopefully it will also bring us to an understanding of just how powerful we are, because we are all Fae, okay? I mean, if you're a human being on this planet and you can trace your lineage back to 0, I suppose, to Ireland, or, well, okay, I digress, because that's leading us down a path I don't want to go down, because it's very confusing, it's obfuscating, and it's meaningless, okay? My research takes me back to Ireland. At this point, it has taken me back to the Battle of Moytura, which is a bardic tale, which means it's magic. And I think there's a dog back there. Fun. Okay. Should we get him on camera? Yeah, let's do. No, it's okay. It's unbelievable how early people get up. I get up early. I go out with my camera, and I run into a crowd on a Sunday morning in October. Okay, anyway, it doesn't matter. The one thing people seem to be able to agree on is that there were such a people as the Tuatha De Danann. The Tuatha De Danann were magic. The Tuatha De Danann worked with druids. The Tuatha De Danann went to Ireland. And the Tuatha De Danann, one of their mythologies is that they developed the ability to hide themselves in a mist. Okay. Now, one thing that people who are experts in the Celtic mythology, Celtic history field will say is that the fairies are a separate race. I mean, the same person who recently lumped them all together with demons and archons have said it's in the same breath practically said that the fairies are in fact a separate race, and they seem to be able to hide themselves from us and show themselves to us whenever they want to. The Tuatha De Danann developed the ability to generate a mist to hide themselves. If you are reading the mythology, that has to do with St. Patrick and the Catholics landing. While it is true that the Roman Empire never invaded Ireland, Rome did. The Vatican invaded Ireland, and that's when the Tuatha De Danann legend started to include this ability to disappear into the mists. So, for me, this is evidence. This is intriguing. This is an intriguing invitation to see the Tuatha De Danann potentially as the fairy race. Okay. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to sit out here because of the rain and the people now going by and all of that, but hopefully we'll be able to knit this together with the rest of what I'm trying to say. I can do at home, I suppose, later, and then maybe we can edit it together. But I have fulfilled my wish to get here in the fall colors once for 13. And I think it's really rather important when we're talking about these things that we enliven them. That is our business as human beings. We enliven. Okay? And we are magic beings. And anybody who follows my work knows that, as far as I'm concerned, every single one of these attacks on us, every single piece of the huge illusion that's been dropped on us, especially in the last few centuries, has to do with the human imagination, which is something that is unique to us as beings in the universe. And of course, if you take the word imagination apart, it's mage in, and a mage is a magician. Okay? So my postulate remains, and probably always will remain, that the human imagination is the conduit, the tool, the door, the translator, really, between the morphic field, the morphogenic field, which is pure potential, and the material world, which is here, which is what we manifest and what we see. And I can't think of anything more magic than that. So I'm going to shut down now and move back to a zone that's less rainy and that's less rainy and less populated, apparently. So I may put this up myself and then do something in addition, a part B, when I can, because I know I had promised something was coming up today, and I want it to come up. Unfortunately, we need to look at demons briefly, because I'm not going to spend any energy there. That's a bad idea. We need to look at archons. We need to look at the jinn. We need to look at the elementals. In fact, I can talk about the elementals out here right now. That's the briefest, or the most the most elemental discussion is the elementals. You know, we talk about